This episode of the DisCast was recorded on
August 6, 2014.
at discast.us/live. Tune in Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern to watch the show, or watch recorded episodes on YouTube and iTunes. Follow us on Twitter at DisCastShow, tune into the trivia contest, and more. If you're feeling generous, please throw us a donation on our PayPal or our Patreon to get cool prizes. It would really help us a lot. Thank you, and enjoy the DisCast.
Star Wars.
Now,
There's some relevant news.
yeah, now on to the main event, what everyone's here for, and that's Star Wars.
Us.
Oh, yeah. You're here for us. Screw Star Wars.
Mostly me,
We're just
yeah.
gonna talk about ourselves for the rest of the show, just us.
You know, my favorite color is blue.
Yes, so is
That's
mine.
why I am so upset about this Tomorrowland.
Me
change.
too. Me too.
Unless they're making everything red.
Alright, anyway, back to what we actually
That
care
wasn't-
about, Star Wars. So, many news articles from yesterday. Well, anyway, Q3 is ended. And now is the time of year, well, one of the 4 times of year, where the CEOs of all major companies go and get into investor calls with the higher-up investors of their company and say, yo, here's how we did, and here's what we're going to talk about for the next quarter. And so Bob Iger is no different among these people, and he started to he went into investors conversation and was talking about Star Wars and the theme parks, and Bob said that the Walt Disney Company plans for a far greater Star Wars presence in its theme parks, which is really good and really what we've been expecting.
Yes.
This is the first concrete news we've heard about Star Wars in the theme parks ever. Rush said, yeah, I don't come from Star Wars, and then Craig says, get your priorities straight. Yeah, so as we all know, there's going to be a new Star Wars movie in theaters on December 18th, 2015 that J.J. Abrams is directing. We know that DICE is developing
That's good.
the next edition in the Star Wars Battlefront game series that I love. And we do know there are 2 big events in 2015 where Disney can hype up things about Star Wars. Now, obviously, we already have Star Tours, but Disney
More.
wants a far greater presence. And Bob Iger
And
said,
now they have the ability to do it.
Bob Iger said that new attractions will be revealed next year. Now, where will that happen? Probably one of the 2 places. Either Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim on April 16th to the 19th, or it will be at D23, which will be from August 14th to 16th, also at the same convention center.
You want to go there next year?
I want to go. That'd be awesome.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go down to LA, see some Star Wars, let's go to D23. It'd be
Go
awesome.
to LA. Yeah.
Go to LA. Yes,
I actually, if I'm going to college there, I'll already be there.
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come visit me.
Yeah, I'll go visit you. We'll go to D23.
Look at this. Everything's falling
all works out.
together.
Anyway, so Disney did not want to. Disney knew they were probably going to buy Star Wars for years before they did. And they already had Star Tours, and they decided not to do anything else with Star Tours until they finished the deal. And they also got the Indiana Jones franchise, as we're aware of. Now, here's a funny thing that Bob Iger said. He said that when
My name
Disney
isn't
now
Bob.
decides to build new attractions, the likelihood of their success is greater when they're branded. When we grow Star Wars presence, which we will do significantly, you will see better bets being made that will pay off for us than were made in the past. He also said that since they've been buying a bunch of franchises and stuff recently, having all these more branded franchises and properties and stuff will deliver better returns than what we saw in the past.
It's 100% true.
Yes, well, I mean, look at Cars. That's his prime example. Look at Cars. It worked with Cars. It will work with everything else. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, even though it is an outdated IP, it's still an IP that Disney owns, and it still does really well. Toy Story has its own theme land in Hong Kong and in Paris. Avatar is having one in Walt Disney's Animal Kingdom. Now,
I'm hoping Disney's gonna do something totally out of the blue and not announce anything at either 2 of the big California events. I mean, they could do that for Disneyland, whatever they're gonna do over there, but I think for Disney World, they should just on a random day of Star Wars weekend, just announce it. Just announce whatever their plans are.
that'd be interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to remember, D23 is not a California thing. It's a Disney company thing.
Well,
It's
I know,
everything's
but-
happening in the company.
But, I don't know. I felt that the whole Seven Dwarfs stuff over there, like anything that gets announced at D23, like I feel like there should be two different conventions, right?
Okay.
As far as
parks and everything else.
Yes.
Really?
And yes.
I don't think
100%. That's what I think.
I don't think they want to give out that much information for the parks. They'd rather be like, oh, here's a press conference about the parks, and that's it.
Well, I mean, when you think about D23,
Now, Rush. Okay, Rush says something very. This is more pertinent to the article. Sorry. Rush says, well, hey, Expedition Everest is original and was a hit. Yes, so was Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean. Those two rides were so successful that they started their own brands. The opposite of what they want to do nowadays. Instead of taking brands and making them successful rides, they took successful rides and turned them into brands. Look at Pirates now. Pirates is one of the highest grossing film series of all time, and it came from a theme park attraction. I say one of it's in like the top 50.
You know what the best example of this was?
Yeah.
This was after a Disney film when they took Lilo and Stitch and they replaced the hit ride with Stitch's Great Escape.
Well, that's the problem. That's what people don't want to happen with, like, Frozen. And Stitch's Great Escape is not a good ride. We all know that.
I disagree.
The Grand Fiesta Tour in Epcot, that was just a cheap rebranding of things in Mexico just to have popular characters at the time, the Three Caballeros, who just happened to be Mexican, but who cares? Now, Disney...
That's not that big, though. Like,
Yeah.
that's a small thing. Like,
The article goes on to say about how ESPN is a huge moneymaker for the company as a whole. However, they don't want to put too much of ESPN to the parks, and Bob said that this is because... we call him Bob, our first name basis. And Iger said... to be more professional here. Iger said that, in general, the experience people want of a theme park is more of a storytelling experience, not necessarily a sports experience. The presence of ESPN in the parks doesn't seem to be...
What's the story of
that
Haunted
obvious.
Mansion?
The story? Are you kidding me?
What's the storyline of Haunted Mansion?
It's a haunted house, and there's
So-
999 happy haunts.
Okay, what's the storyline?
I mean, what's the storyline?
Well, they want to do storytelling, right?
Yes. And
Where's the
Haunted Mansion is
beginning,
one of
middle,
the...
and end?
Haunted Mansion is one
Where's
of...
the climax? What's the climax of this?
It's not plot, okay? It's not necessarily plot.
I
Haunted
think
Mansion is
any
arguably...
story-
Haunted Mansion arguably is one of the prime examples of how Disney can take an original idea and
Look,
make
we're
this story...
off that, okay?
And it's more of like...
you don't need.
the story is not explicitly told, all right? Here's the
Yeah.
deal.
I don't think there's
Say-
a story told at all.
Saying that you don't need a story told is completely contrary to Walt Disney Imagineering's main missions. First of all, because what they do. If you
What's
ask
the
any
story of
Imagineer what
Soarin'?
they're doing, what?
What's the story of Soren?
Soren, you are taking a journey on to the amazing state of California, which will one day be 6 states, and then Soren will have
Look.
nothing to do. Hey, no, what's gonna happen to Disney's California Adventure if the 6 California plans happen?
I don't think it's going to happen. Honestly, like I know that they have the population and stuff. But that's like saying Long Island's going to split off New York.
Oh,
I mean,
no, that
they
won't
could.
happen. They could,
have
but it would be
they
so
have
bad.
the 3 million plus people on the island.
You also have to think
but
about
they-
the economy and stuff, but it works for California's economy. But still, that's besides the point. Anyway,
But, okay, so there's really no story in Soren, right?
yes,
It's
there
arguably
is.
there's no story there whatsoever, and that's a hit ride. Like, the idea that we need a story to bang out a hit ride is completely false.
Stories, whether explicitly given or implicitly given, are still stories. Whether you have to think a little bit yourself to find the story or not.
Universal doesn't really do with stories.
Yes, I know, and that's Universal. You have to look at Disney though.
I'm just saying, you could have hits without having.
And as of late, Universal has been going more towards the story ideas because that's what's better. That's what people like to see. That's what Walt Disney Imagineering has been showing us for over 50 years. 60 years. 59 years.
There was a video that I saw by a writer.
No
I
story
sent
for
this-
Space Mountain? Of course there's a story for Space Mountain. Anyway,
What's the
keep
story on Space Mountain?
going. Well,
Tomorrowland Transit Authority. What's the story?
what's the... Okay,
What's the story?
which one do you want
Walk me through.
first?
Both of them at the same
Both at
time.
the same time. So Space Mountain, you're traveling through, and there's a transportation system. It's got the high-tech highway in the sky, in space, through Tomorrowland.
Okay.
Both at the same time. There you go. Do you regret that yet?
No, you proved my point exactly. It made no sense whatsoever.
That's because I had to tell two stories at the same time.
Okay, TTA, give me a story.
Okay, TTA. So, there are tons of amazing things to see in Tomorrowland, and the Tomorrowland Transit
Is that a
Authority People
story, or
Mover.
is that just a tour?
The Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover is your quiet, carefree highway in the sky. That's the story. There you go.
So if I
Concepts can spawn implicit stories, and that's my point. That's Walt Disney Imagineering's
Tomorrowland
point.
Speedway?
Tomorrowland Speedway is a speedway. There's Tomorrowland is a speedway in town, and you're driving your own cars to the finish line.
What town?
What?
You
Tomorrowland.
Is Tomorrowland now a thriving metropolis?
It is. Well, I think so. They got
Is there a story on the monorail?
No, because the
Look,
transportation.
you don't need a
The
story.
monorail
like,
is not an attraction.
No. ESPN is just such an obscure thing. Like, they have nothing to do with that. Like, how do you make a ride out of ESPN? That's what the real answer is. It has nothing to do with finding a story or finding whatever. They just can't do anything with it.
Okay, sure. Anyway, and so to wrap up this thing, because I didn't expect to argue with Darren over the the motives of the Walt Disney Imagineering, I'm telling if you ask any Imagineer, they'll tell you their primary goals.
They'll tell you they're a storyteller, but I listened to an interview with a writer who said that that he once talked to a guy who made roller coasters, and he referred to himself as a storyteller. And he said, no, you're not. You're a guy who makes roller coasters. You're not a storyteller. You know, storytellers are people that don't view themselves as storytellers. Storytellers are the people that just do. They don't have this I'm a storyteller attitude.
Sure, counter an opinion with another. Counter someone's what I want to say
Look,
opinion.
this is a professional writer.
Okay,
who
and
doesn't-
Imagineers are
who
professional
doesn't view
engineers.
himself.
Anyway, this is the funniest part of this article by far, is that when the investors asked if Disney wanted to broker new licensing deals with other franchise owners, like they did with Avatar, and also Iger said, "We don't have to license from third parties. We own them all." And that was my favorite part of the entire article. That's where it ends. It just ends right there.
That's fantastic.
I thought that was great.
Maybe he should own some storytellers.
Yeah. I thought that was really, really good. He's like, oh yeah, you know, we own Marvel, we own Pixar, we own Lucasfilm. What other third parties are there? I thought that was pretty funny. So there you go. With your Star Wars. We hope you enjoyed this DisCast News Bite. If you want to watch the entire show, the link will be in the description below, and you can always watch the shows live, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern at discast.us/live.